What's up, Climb Crew? Welcome to the Climb with Kelsey. This is the no bullshit corner of the internet where we throw out the hustle culture, flip off the burnout, and build bold ass businesses that feel as good as they look. I'm your coach and host, Kelsey, worldwide elopement photographer, coach to six figure creatives, your anti burnout advocate, your systemizer queen, margarita loving, F bomb dropping, truth telling hype girl. Every week, we're diving into the real shit that will build your business and move it forward. Marketing that actually works, mindset so you don't get driven crazy by your own mind, and the systems and automations that will give you your life back. So, whether you're sipping coffee, wine, or taking this on a 3 mile rage walk, buckle up, Buttercup, because the view at the top, oh yeah, baby, it's worth the climb. To kick off, I always want to talk about your latest obsession, if we have one. It could be in life, it can be in your business, it could be in your book. Like, do we have anything that we're just like obsessing about these days?
This is really weird, but
I'm here for it. Here for it.
I don't know so there was a restaurant, Cosi. I don't know if they still exist, but when I was in grad school, I would go there for lunch during like in between classes, and they had this bruschetta salad. And
Oh,
so I looked up the like a copycat recipe online,
yes.
and I've
Yes.
seriously been eating it multiple times a week for the
That is
like probably the
amazing.
past month.
That's amazing. I mean, like, if we find it that's good, like, we got to recreate. I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
trying to find the copycat recipes.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, full transparency on my cooking skills, it is never the same.
No.
But I mean, I'm glad we're out there trying. That
Yeah,
is,
it's always better when somebody else makes it.
yes. I tried to do the Panera broccoli cheddar soup.
Ooh,
Do you
that's a
guys
good
have
one.
Panera out in that neck of the
Yeah.
woods? Okay, okay. That one, I'm just like, if we could just get this on rotation, it was pretty good, but not the same. Not the same.
Yeah.
I would love to kick off
Okay.
with some rapid fire. Are you ready?
Sure, let's do it.
She's like, am I ready? So I was chatting about your sweet littles earlier. Are they 7 and 4 now? Am I doing the math right? How old are your sweet littles?
Five. So my son's
Okay.
5, my daughter's like 7.5.
Okay, 5 and 7, 5 7. Okay. So 7-year-old, what is the most savage thing that they've ever said to you?
Oh, just the other week. So my daughter has like mystery readers come in to her class, which are our parents. And and it's
Oh,
a surprise, obviously, hence the word mystery. But I was like, oh, so do you know if Zoe's mom is coming in? And she's like, well, mom, it's a mystery reader. So no, like with so much attitude, like
so much
touche.
attitude. Yeah,
That's
right.
my
You're like,
bad.
valid, and
Hence the
you're a
name
savage.
mystery reader.
And the mystery. She's like, no, it's still a mystery, mom. Still,
Yeah.
still a mystery. Like, get your shit together. It's a
You
mystery.
dummy. Yeah.
Yeah, you dummy. If your kids were running the house, what's the first rule that they would implement
Oh
if
man.
they were the bosses?
Candy all hours of the day,
Yes, that is something
whenever.
I thought I would do more as an adult. I don't know about you, but when I was
Yeah.
a kid, I was like, when I grow up, I'm gonna eat candy all the time.
Yeah.
I
I
don't.
have
I
my
wish I
moments
did.
when that happens, but
Me
uh
too. Like the full bag of Starbucks or Starburst, just like
yeah.
unwrapping it and just eating the entire bag. Guilty. What is your go-to I can't today meal? Like, can't do it.
Oh, I mean, probably just ordering pizza.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a crowd
Last thing you
pleaser for everyone.
yeah, no, everyone, no matter what. What's the last thing your 5-year-old did that made you immediately like need a glass of wine or just to like walk out of the house
I mean, that's multiple times
daily?
a day.
She's like, I cannot pick a single time
Yeah.
because there's so many.
That's very accurate. Yes. Yeah.
5-year-olds. Which kid is most likely to become a cult leader? No
Oh, my
pressure.
5-year-old for sure. Yeah.
5-year-old.
He may be a sociopath. We're not sure yet, but it's
Okay.
possible.
I mean,
It's
like,
possible.
maybe too young to tell. We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll get some regret just sneaking into his conscious
Yeah.
someday. Not today. Not today. What is the hottest red flag you've ever ignored?
Like personally,
Mm-hmm.
a red flag I've ignored. Oh man, that's a really hard one.
Is it our cult leader child?
I'm sorry.
Is it our
Yeah.
cult leader child?
Yeah.
Is it the sociopath behaviors?
Definitely not ignoring those. Since I
Yeah,
am a
right.
therapist, I'm like, oh shit.
Like we are taking action on those ones.
Yeah. Right. That's a really good, I mean, probably in relationships in my 20s, there's got to be some
A
red
million of
flags
them.
there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Same.
But I
Same.
can't think of like a specific one at
Yes.
the
I
moment.
once dated a guy who his mom still did his laundry. I ignored that for
Amazing.
way too long. Like he did not. I was what, like 23 or something. And the kid could not do his own laundry to
Wow.
that day. And I was like, that is terrible.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about your book, Unpacked. I did a little stalking, and
Yeah.
like I love the idea, and I'm in therapy. Our sweet, me and my sweet husband are in couples therapy. Like this is something that like
Mhm.
I really believe in. Tell me about the summary of what it's about, how our like beliefs are kind of like slowly just kind of like killing our life,
Mhm.
sabotaging some of our stuff. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I started working with clients who were very just highly anxious, basically. I specialize in anxiety, highly anxious, very perfectionistic,
I don't know
very
anyone
high
like that.
achieving, right?
I don't. What do you mean? Are you talking to me? What do you mean?
Yeah, so that was sort of my client base, and then the more I started working with them, the more I realized that a lot of them had this history of, they wouldn't call it like trauma in the traditional sense, like this, one incident that was
Hmm.
just like shook them, but there were more, it was more about like the dynamics with their parents or at home in the family, or these little like what was modeled for them, or the messaging that they were sort of receiving covertly, and it just creates these beliefs. So from the time we're born till we're about 7, we're just like sponges, we're absorbing everything. That sort of becomes our framework for how we view everything, ourselves, other people, the
Yeah.
world, and then we just continue to have experiences that can kind of reinforce those beliefs. So if somebody
Yeah.
grew up in a home where maybe, I'm thinking especially for like men who tend to be socialized to not express vulnerability, if
Mm.
they grew
Hmm.
up in a household where anger was the only appropriate emotion, they might have developed certain beliefs or certain ways of interacting that were maladaptive and sort
Yeah.
of self-sabotaging later in life. Or if somebody grew up in a family where achievement was pretty much the focus, then they would derive a lot of their self-worth from those achievements. And so as an adult now, it's what they do, not who they are, that gives
Yeah.
them that sense of self-worth, and so
Mhm.
they overfunction as a result.
Right. Well,
So
and
those are
when
just
I
some
hear,
examples.
yeah, no, thank you so much for sharing like what that kind of looks like. When you say from 0 to 7, firstly, it seems like a long time and a short time,
Yeah.
at least to me. Like when we think about babies can be picking
Hmm.
up on these things. How do babies and like really little babies pick that up? I mean, is it like micro expressions? I mean, talk to me a little bit
Hmm.
about that. Is that a thing?
Totally, yeah. So it's all attachment based. So, little babies, they are completely dependent on their caregivers to meet their needs. And so they get a lot of input from like the facial expressions of others, the physical contact. If they cry, whether the caregiver comes to them or ignores it.
Yeah.
So they're sort of developing this sense of safety, so to speak, in this
Or not.
attachment relationship, or not. Exactly.
Yeah, right,
Exactly.
right.
Yeah.
Okay,
In this
interesting.
attachment relationship. So
Yeah,
that sort of lays the foundation. And this can be in utero, and like with generational trauma, it can be
really.
in the mother's system already. And that can also be passed down to the baby.
Wow.
Yeah, there are a lot of things
That's a
at
lot.
play that people don't
Yeah,
don't
no, that's
realize. Yeah.
that's huge. I mean, one big truth that you kind of outline is that beliefs holding us back aren't always conscious, but they're
Hmm.
kind of just controlling at like everything that we're doing.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, our subconscious is really controlling everything, because we are responding to, like, if we are responding to something in the here and now, it's typically like 20% about what's happening now and 80% about what has happened in the past. But we don't make that conscious connection that,
Sure,
like,
of course
oh,
not. Yeah.
yeah, this
Right? Like,
thing is actually
yeah.
connected to this and this and this and this and this, and all the way
Right.
back to childhood. And so that's just like operating in the background and really driving how we react to things, interpret things, perceive things, and we sort of create our own narratives or our own stories around a situation or a relationship
Yeah.
that that may not be accurate. It's just
Right. Well,
just our
it's
perception.
certainly not like serving you,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Hmm.
accurate is, I'm sure like you're absolutely right, right? It's like, is it accurate? No, but also is it serving you? Also no.
Hmm.
Right? Like trying to let
Right.
go of some of that is can be so hard. I work
Absolutely.
mostly with, creative entrepreneurs. I am also one of them. I think it's so interesting. And you mentioned how like early life beliefs, like the I'm not enough and I have to prove myself. Like we're talking about, it happens really early on. And
Hmm.
I guess I see it in myself, and I'm sure in a ton of my sweet little clients of like they're overworking, they're
Hmm.
people pleasing. And if you're like me, you have emotional capacity of a teaspoon. Like how, I mean, it's so hard to like combat that. I mean, when
Yeah.
you're kind of working with these sweet people, what are we kind of having them address? Like what are we having them work on?
Yeah, it's really kind of the recognition that they have value and worth just as they are. Like just being
Hard
a
stop.
human. Like, yeah,
Yes.
you think of it
Right.
like a baby being born. They have inherent worth. They haven't been impacted by the world yet, and they're just like so innocent and pure, and it's like it's only as we grow and we have these different experiences or have these different interpretations that that sense of worth starts to go away. And so it's really just identifying that and identifying that they can give themselves that sort of internal validation. A lot of them are seeking external validation, and
Right.
that's what kind of keeps us in on this like hamster wheel, right? Because then we
Yes.
get that validation, we feel good, we work harder, we get that validation. It's just like this
Mm-hmm.
constant cycle. So a lot of it is really taking a look at what that over functioning is doing for them, like what's the purpose of it, and then
Mm-hmm.
breaking that down and untangling that and giving themselves space to rest essentially and sort of
Mm-hmm.
unplug, and also just having a lot of self-compassion because with this client base the inner critic is so loud.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it can be really hard for people just to have compassion for themselves and not beat themselves up or feel like a failure or experience shame. All that's really
Yeah.
common.
Gosh, you gave there's so much to unpack here, Kristen. I'm just like, where do we even start? I loved what you said about like you have to rest at a certain
Hmm.
point, right? So much of this, I think for most of us, and like you say if that's not accurate, that like it's performance based, so probably like
Yeah.
job based. You have to have the perfect relationship, you have to have the perfect clothes, the career, the car, the
Hmm.
house. So much of this, not only how you grew up, is it also societal? Is it
Oh, yeah.
so, right? Yeah. So talk to me about the marriage, for lack of a better term, of you're growing up in your house and you have these relationships and whoever is raising you is teaching you some of this to the societal part. Like how
Hmm.
much, if not a mix. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. Even in school growing up, everything's based on grades, which it's
Yes.
outcome oriented. It's not process oriented. It's not about the learning necessarily. It's what are your grades? That's what colleges look at. Or
Yes.
if you're an athlete, it's performance based. Are you going to get recruited? And so
Mm-hmm.
it's just reinforced that way. And then we grow up in adulthood and there's this hustle culture that just reinforces it more. So it's
Oh, it's
like
terrible. It's terrible. I mean,
we're
like
we're
all
like
the things.
set up to fail,
Right.
basically.
Right. By the time we're 25, like if you're not burnt out, like you're
Yeah,
gonna be. I mean, like
yeah.
when you think about that pressure cooker of pressure, I mean, it's kind of no wonder that people are so
Yeah,
anxious. I mean, I bet you are seeing it
absolutely.
in record numbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, yeah. I guess before, did 2020 and COVID-19 really like just blow that up? Or did you find that people were more like isolated, finding their own success? Have you seen the change in that trend?
Yeah, I think COVID heightened a lot of people's anxiety, but I
Hmm.
also think it gave people the kind of the confidence to speak up about what they need because
Yes.
there were such blurred lines between work and home. And so I think everybody just experienced like, okay, what's what? There are no boundaries
Yeah.
here and came out of it like this is not sustainable. And
They
so I
learned
think
what a boundary was, like black belt and boundaries, like all of a sudden.
yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, so helpful.
Yeah, so it was, I think after we came out of that, so to speak, there was sort of this rebound of people being like, well, no, I'm taking care of myself. I'm
Yeah.
noticing what I need or what kind of work-life balance looks right for me, and that doesn't fit well in this hustle culture. So it's sort of been an interesting dynamic, just seeing all of that unfold.
Yeah, right. Because what happens to those people who go back into work, like into
Hmm.
likely like back into that hustle culture? Have you
Yeah.
seen people kind of be, I mean, just getting that cognitive dissonance of like, I had my boundaries set and it was all set and now I am back. And what
Hmm.
does that kind of look like for your people?
Yeah, you said it perfectly. The cognitive dissonance. I think there's an awareness that like this is not what I want or how I want to be living or whatnot, but it's like
Yeah.
they're so stuck in the trenches that it feels like there's no way out, essentially.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's what I try to help people with is you don't have to like completely overhaul your life. You don't need to necessarily get a new job. It's just how do we incorporate these these moments of rest or reset for your nervous system so that you're not in this heightened state all the time because that's what chronic stress is and that's what leads to burnout and medical issues and all sorts of consequences.
Yeah, right, right. And for those of us who do struggle with boundary setting,
Hmm.
do you have like a step-by-step recommendations for people on how they set healthy boundaries? Usually
I
for me
think
and my people, it's
yeah.
around like, how do they put their work away? Right.
Yeah.
And how do they kind of manage their hours because they set their own hours, right? Because
Right.
they work from
Right.
home and they might have kids, they might have the fur babies, they might have spouses, right? They have other
Right.
things in their life, but they might struggle with setting that boundary because they're the boss.
Hmm. Yeah, and there's always more to do, right? Like you could work
Yes.
around the clock as an
Right.
entrepreneur if you allowed yourself
Right.
to.
Right.
So I
Right.
think it's almost more important for entrepreneurs to set those boundaries for themselves so that it is sustainable, so that they don't burn themselves out and then begin resenting what they do. Because that's not why we got into our own businesses, right?
Totally.
To do
Like
something that we
little
love.
did we
And
know. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there it's just kind of creating that space between work and home life and also just saying no. Like that I
Mm,
think is the thing that most people struggle with. And so I always tell them like if you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. So just to be cognizant of that there's always a trade-off. So, and then the more successful you become, the more you have to say no. And that gets really
sure.
because you're going to be sought after and people are going to want to connect with you. I think those are the big challenges for
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, especially.
I hear that 100%. Like with a lot of my people, they're like, I don't even know how I'm getting to the point where I'm like working on emails till 8 p.m.
Yeah.
For instance, right? You'll be working
Yeah.
along and all of a sudden it's like, what?
Right.
For some of mine, I mean, the concrete stuff, like put a footer at the bottom of your email, right? I work on emails Monday and Tuesday or
Mhm.
whatever it is. Anytime we can like pre-program our clients to know what our boundaries are,
Yeah.
I find that so helpful. Like as soon as you book my services, here's a list of cool things to know about the business. and boundaries,
Yeah.
right? I guess, like, do you think that is enough for boundary setting? Or is there like more deeper work that we should be doing more about the like, am I enough? And I'm only enough when I get X, Y, Z, all these things done. It's because it's not
Yeah.
just about the time that I'm doing emails at 8 p.m. Right? It's like that
Right.
deeper mindset that you are just working so beautifully with people to kind of combat. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I think, what you're saying is essentially managing people's expectations of what you are willing to do,
Providing, yeah, yeah.
which I think is wonderful. The people who struggle to set those boundaries, it's it does come down more to their sense of worth, because it's it's essentially an act of disrespect to ourselves if we're not setting boundaries. So every time
Mm,
we set one, it's a demonstration of self-respect, which then can help their feelings of worth, and for them to see that, okay, my world's not going to crumble if I set these boundaries, because that's the fear a lot of the times. I'm going to lose business,
yeah.
I'm going to be a failure, or I'm going to look stupid in my content, or whatever the case may be. So
Yes.
really working on that self-worth piece, and like them giving themselves permission to actually set the boundary, because that's
Hmm.
where we sabotage a lot. We know
Right.
what to
Well,
do, but we don't get underneath and fix the problem as to why we're
right.
not doing it.
And I love what you said too about what's the worst that can happen? I mean, likely all
Yeah.
these things that like we're spiraling thinking it's going to happen, it's not going to happen, right? Like
Right. Yeah.
most clients are pretty reasonable when you set a boundary, right?
Yeah.
They're not just all of a sudden being like, yeah, no, you're fired.
Right.
So
Right.
just like that, I think is super, super helpful as well. When I think about, I'm going to kind of like, I don't know if it's a backup or like an overarch. Like I just want to talk about like success in general,
Hmm.
because I think, like you talk about this really beautifully, how there are rules, right? Like when we think about success, there's a certain rule that we think we need to follow, or a certain path, or a
Yeah.
certain cookie cutter thing that will lead us to success. And there's these rules to what is and is not, right? Like we're only successful if we play within those rules. Where do these rules come from? I know we kind of talked a little bit about it. Talk to me a little more. Like
Yeah.
these the subconscious scripts that we're writing.
Hmm.
How do we like where does that success metric come from?
I think a lot of that is societal, or it could come from our parents, in terms of like we see what our parents value and what they feel is important. They don't necessarily directly say it to us, but
Sure.
we pick up on that. So if money is highly valued, we're going to pick up on that, and then we're going to carry that value into our adulthood and maintain that unless we challenge it or decide it's not important to us. And so I think with
Yeah.
success, a lot of it is societal as well, where it's like either how much money you make or what your title is, right? And
Like
that's kind of
prestige
how
and
we
money, right? Like
exactly.
so
Yeah.
so much of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And something that I've really learned over the course of my experience as an entrepreneur is that I think the biggest form of success is time, because
Ooh, say more.
that is, we all have the same amount, and it's finite.
Mm,
And like, I think time is so much more important than money,
yeah.
because when we
Yeah.
are using our time how we want to be, life is just, it's more fulfilling. It feels easier. We feel more balanced. Like we can have that sustainable life that we want, whatever that looks like.
Sure.
So I think if people start prioritizing time over money, it just kind of shifts the framework that they approach business or life with.
Yeah. Like if we think about we're 85 years old and someone is asking us like, is there anything you regret doing? Being in the
Mhm.
office more is not going to be one of those.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's going to be travel. It's going to be I wish
Right.
I don't know, bought a dirt bike. I don't know, like whatever,
Right.
right? It's not going to be, oh well, wish I spent 80 hours a week in the office. That would have been
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, yeah, like that makes so much sense. And just, I mean, with my entrepreneur peeps, like trying to get them to set their success expectations and their goals around their freedom, their time,
Hmm.
what they actually want to do. I guess how do we rewrite that script of going from a place where I have to put in X amount of hours a week to I'm going to be thinking more about my free time.
It's the first is more fear driven, whereas the latter is more intentional. And so when we're fear driven, that's when we're coming from a place of lack, of scarcity, of not good enough, you know? And so then we feel like we constantly need to do more and more and more, versus if we're being intentional and we're structuring our time according to how we want to live within reason. We also have to make a living, but
Sure,
um
sure. These
but
like these dogs have to eat, right?
yeah.
Like
Right.
yeah.
But it's more intentional. It feels like we have more control versus like other things controlling us, right? Because
Right.
we're way more reactive in that other state. It's like because we're coming from a place of fear. So if we're more intentional and we trust that the clients are out there, whatever we feel is lacking in this other paradigm,
Yeah.
then it just kind of opens things up that you wouldn't really expect, you know. I've
Yeah.
experienced that myself, and I know sometimes it can sound like a little woo woo, but I think there is such power in the way we think because that is what becomes our reality. And so people don't really realize that like their internal monologue is like they are creating that in
Right.
reality.
Yeah. I mean, how like I love how you said that it's I mean, without sounding obnoxious and like devaluing the problem. Like it's kind of all in our own head, right? Like this
Hmm.
script and this monologue that we're telling ourselves over and over
Yeah.
again. You can take an eraser to that, right? Like you can take a
Yeah.
big old blackout marker and like rewrite that.
Yeah.
Is I mean, is that something that you have your clients do? Are we physically rewriting? Are we manifesting? Are we meditating? Like what are we doing to really take a deep look at that script and
Hmm.
canceling out what we don't need?
Yeah, I think, and that's kind of where the book comes in. We look at where that even came from. Like, how did that
Yes.
develop? Why is that there in the first place? Is it working for you still? Because usually that was created as sort of a survival or defensive or protective mechanism. And
Mhm.
sure, it was great back then when we needed it, when we didn't have as much control or autonomy or didn't have the adult brain that we have now. But what is it doing now for you, you
Right.
know? And a lot of that is the sabotage, the fear-driven success, a lot of that. So we really kind of look at where it came from and unpack, you know, okay, well, what's working, what's not, what can we shift here? So really just
Totally.
looking at those beliefs under a
Yeah.
microscope.
I love that. And I mean, before you mentioned that you had some kind of revelations, what did you find out about yourself when you did this?
Yeah, I think a lot of the kind of qualities that I thought were good, like being agreeable or
Mm,
going with the flow or things like that, were actually just more protective
yeah.
mechanisms for me so that we all as humans, we all want to feel like we belong, right? That's just a
Mm.
basic human need.
That's
So,
evolution for sure, right? I
yeah,
mean, like
yeah,
our cave women brain are like, if we don't fit in, we're
absolutely.
kicked out of the tribe. If we're kicked out, then
Right,
we die. I mean, right? Like that, like we're
right.
still living in that, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of these sort of adaptive or protective mechanisms are to ensure belonging.
Mhm.
And that is survival because
Yes.
like you can't survive in isolation. So that's one thing I learned, that a lot, like I had a lot of people pleasing tendencies. I had a hard time saying no to things.
Same.
I would
You are
just
not
kind of,
alone.
yeah, not assert my needs or my wants. And
Yeah.
so I feel like I've come a long way with that.
Yes. Oh, you can. well, literally diagnose it, but like, like you're
Yeah.
you're just like recognizing it, right?
Yeah.
And I do. I mean, I think there's these things. I have like ambition and drive, and
Hmm.
that's disguising the fact that like I mean, performance driven,
Yeah.
which is the similar things we talked about. So like people pleasing. I want to be sure I please people. Like
Hmm.
I think there's probably a level of this in most people.
Hmm.
No? I mean, there's these, right? Do you think that, behind the ambition, behind the kindness for you, maybe, and the wanting to include everyone and be included in every group is nestled in these kind of other, possibly not helpful things? How do we separate the good parts of that? Because I would
Hmm.
think, at least for me, like I love the fact that I'm ambitious. It's gotten me really far.
Yeah.
But there's
Yeah.
and I'm sure for you too, right? Like you probably have
Hmm.
like beautiful communities and you probably have a lot of friends, right? And really deep relationships. But how do you separate and know when this guy over here
Hmm.
is doing too much?
I think it comes down to the motivation behind it.
Mm,
So is the ambition authentic? Is it genuine? Is it like you want to help people or you want to share your knowledge with the world? Or is it fear based where it's like, I have to prove
mm,
myself or I have to make sure everyone else is happy or I feel threatened
right.
in some way? Does that make sense?
So much sense.
The
Yes.
difference?
No, that's super helpful. I mean, just like being able to be like, are we doing it because we're anxious, right?
Yeah,
About something?
right.
Or are we doing it because like this is a core value?
Yeah, hmm, absolutely.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, that I feel could be very tough to piece apart. I think.
Yes.
I mean, at least like as soon as you said that, I was like, oh my gosh, like my behaviors. Right? Am I doing it because I'm worried about it?
Yeah.
Maybe. No. So thank you, Kristen. I'm gonna put a sticky note on my computer. Why are you doing this? Are we doing it because
Yeah.
it's fun? Are we doing it? It's so interesting. So
Yeah.
interesting. Good.
And when we're not living in alignment with our values, that's when a lot of internal tension arises. So that's another thing that I work
Mm,
with clients on a lot is one, identifying their values, because how many of us just sit down and figure out what our values are? Nobody.
totally. Nobody. Nobody.
Like we might have this idea of what we think is important, but like we haven't actually looked and said, no, like this is what I want to live my life by. So
Yeah.
I'll do that with a lot of my clients and then we'll see how aligned they are with each of their like top six values.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Is that like a written down thing where
Yeah.
here's what we value and then the other side is like the anxiety? No, what's on the other side? The values on one and what's on the other?
So they pretty much just narrow it. I give them a list of like over 60 and then they narrow it down to their top six. And then I have them rate from like 0 to 10. Okay, how in alignment are you with this value? And then where are the misalignments and why? Like, why are those misalignments happening? And how can we like
Yes.
bump that number closer to 10 incrementally?
Got it. Okay. And then when we are misaligned,
Mhm.
what does it look like?
There's just a lot of inner conflict.
Okay.
It's just unsettling. There could be anxiety.
Yeah.
It feels like something's off,
Okay.
we're resentful toward people or
Jobs,
situations.
situations.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Okay. Okay. I
yeah.
mean, and again, like I appreciate you talking me through it because again, I like emotional capacity of a teaspoon. So when we're like, it feels misaligned. I'm like, but what? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm like, tell me what it looks like, Kristen. So thank you. Thank you for walking that through.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting too how the metric for success can change so much in
Hmm.
someone's life, right?
Yeah.
Like, have you, I guess, what would you recommend for, people to respect the fact that that can change? I think, at least personally for me, I found so much rigidity
Yeah.
in my one metric being parents. And
Hmm.
I mean, thankfully I'm over the hill, right? Like I'm okay, I'm good. But like there was
Hmm.
a really tumultuous time in there where
Yeah.
getting from one metric to my own metric was really, really tough.
Yeah.
How, I guess, like, what does that kind of journey look like for most? And like, what should those of us who haven't quite been there yet and is still feeling in that misalignment, what
Hmm.
should we be doing to kind of like cross that threshold from possibly not so healthy metric to another more aligned metric?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is self-reflective, just to again kind of going back to the values, like
Yeah,
seeing what's important to you versus what was taught to you to be
right.
important. And
Yeah.
it can feel threatening because when our values are different than the people who are important in our lives, it can feel like we're becoming disconnected from
Yeah.
them. And that can happen, in the short term, but I think ultimately, as long as like you're good at communicating about it, and that you can kind of step into your own identity, and that doesn't
Yeah.
mean there's a risk to the other people in your life. It's all right, well, everybody's just being their authentic selves, and how do we get along in that way?
Yes. Right. Yeah, right. I could see, I mean, I mean that communication just sounds like that would just be the best way to do it. Of, hey, still important. I'm not going to do what you say.
Yeah.
Right? Like the idea, I mean, again, like I think 10 years back to mid 20s me, I don't think I would have said that to my mom, for instance.
Yeah.
There's no way. There's no way I would have been like, yeah, like you're cute, but no. I mean,
Yeah.
about like when we're starting to like initially set boundaries, what are some like the best tips that you have for that? Like with someone who you're trying to like not distance, but
Hmm.
a little bit, right? I mean, like you're
Hmm.
trying for your own sanity to give that room. I think
Hmm.
you tell me if you think a lot of people can relate to this, but how do we still have that relationship but give it a little bit of space?
I think it's expected to be uncomfortable, which a lot of people shy
Fair.
away from because change and discomfort
Yeah,
go hand in hand. You can't have one, you can't have change without
right.
discomfort. So that's one. I think even expect it to get a little bit worse before it gets better because you're
Yeah.
changing the way you relate to people who have known you for a long time. So it's
Mm,
just natural for them to resist that. But the idea is then that if you have good communication and you're both respectful, and to try to understand each other versus it turning into like me versus you, then it will ultimately lead to a healthier relationship on the other side.
yeah, that's super helpful. I'm wondering, not because of anything you're doing, but like, you have kids, you're a mama. I wonder
Mhm.
when that's going to happen for you or if.
Yeah.
Being on the other side of that, I feel like is going to be like so crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I think the key is we judge what we don't understand. And
mhm,
so if we can get curious, even with like like you were talking about with your mom, like, okay, why is that important to her? Or
yeah.
to your, if you're talking to her, why is that
Hmm,
important to you?
hmm.
How did that come to be a value of yours? She may have never even sat down to think about it because it was passed along from her parents.
Sure.
So I think just like approaching it with curiosity and trying to understand versus a lot of times we'll get defensive or feel like we have to stand our ground. And that
Yeah.
usually just, that doesn't go over.
It's not great, Kristen. It's not, I mean, it's not great. It's
Yeah.
not great. It sounds like curiosity can really get us so far, which I've loved kind of like exploring that and chatting about that with you. Before we wrap up, is there anything that you have learned throughout your extensive, beautiful career? Is there top three things or top two things that you just really want people to know and people to get?
So one is that we love to fight against emotion. We love, like, if something feels uncomfortable or distressing, we try to push it away.
Mm-hmm.
And I want people to understand that if you allow it and you approach it with curiosity and just like, okay, I wonder why this feeling is here, it will
Yeah.
move along way more quickly than if you try to push it away.
Love that. That's a good one.
That, I think the self-compassion piece is huge. I think a lot of people see it as this sort of I don't know, like mushy gushy, flowery, like
Right.
psychobabble type thing. And honestly, like when
Yeah.
I first heard about it, I was like, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
self-compassion.
Right. Like insert eye roll. And
Yeah, yeah,
now we have grown.
yeah. But
And by we, I mean
really,
you.
what it does is it signals to our brain that we're safe. And so then we can start like the amygdala, the part of our brain that has the threat response, like fight or
Yeah.
flight or anxiety, that can calm down and we can start to think more rationally and logically. And
Hmm.
so it really just makes everything a lot easier to handle if we're not shaming ourselves for feeling a certain way or judging ourselves for doing something. The self-compassion piece can really go far.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big one. Tell us where everyone can find you. Can you tell us about your book? Tell us where we can find you on socials. How can we do it?
Yeah, my book is on Amazon. Again, it's called Unpacked and just came out in mid-September. So,
Congrats,
thank you.
girl. I didn't give your flowers. I mean, I did, but like not enough. That is amazing.
Thank
Congrats.
you. I appreciate it. It's a self-help book, but it's not very clinical in nature. It doesn't use a lot of big psychology terms. It's very readable. It has a lot of like case studies and stories included. And then it also, at the end of each chapter, has an actual exercise for you to do. So you can kind of put the information that you're reading into practice.
Love a good homework assignment. You know, I do. I do, Kristen.
Yeah.
So thanks.
So that's that. And then I have a YouTube channel called the Anxiety Therapist. And then I am on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of those.
And
Instagram is
TikTok and all the jazz.
kristen.jacobson.lcpc. And that's pretty much across the board,
Perfect.
except
I'll
for
link it in the show
YouTube.
notes. I'll link in the show notes.
I also have a free energy audit for anyone who's interested. So assesses our energy levels in 4 different areas of life, and you explore where energy is leaking, where it's getting depleted, and versus what is restorative. And so it can really paint a nice picture of maybe some areas of your life that you don't realize are as draining or taxing as you thought they were.
We just found the topic for our next podcast.
There you go.
That is amazing. Kristen, thank you again so much for coming on the show.
Thanks
It
for
was
having
just
me.
so good. I feel like I should bill you the 50 minutes that we were here.
Thank
Thank you.
Happy to do it. Happy to do it.
Well, we'll see you next time.